On February 8th, I went to my local theater to see Lisa Frankenstein. I loved it. Here's my review. So, a little bit of backstory. I found out about this movie a month or two ago, and I had been incredibly excited for it. I watched every trailer I could get my hands on and was already telling all my friends to watch it. I even made a playlist and some fan art over a week before it released. Now, you may be thinking, wow, that's a lot of excitement. How could the movie live up to that? And I was thinking that too. But when I finally saw it, it was even better than I was hoping. It's definitely not for everyone, but I loved it and I will be rewatching it. On to the actual movie. It opens with a really cool animated credit sequence that I wasn't expecting. It's like all in black and white and it looks really nice. We then go to live action with The Promise by When in Rome playing. We're then introduced to Lisa and her stepsister Taffy. They're in the car driving to a party, and we learn that Lisa really cares about a specific gravestone at an abandoned cemetery. At the party, Taffy reveals some information about Lisa's previous life before she moved here. Lisa is given a drink that was spiked, so she does not have a good time, and a guy at the party uses this as an opportunity to make advances on her, and her obviously seeing that this is really scary and bad runs away, and she finds herself in the cemetery, and she talks to the grave that she's been taking care of, and she says, "I wish I was with you." And later she says that by this she means dead, but, fate has ways of working, and later the dead guy shows up at her house. And this scene is really fun. She's scared at first, and it's intercut with footage of the TV in the living room playing Day of the Dead, which I thought was really fun. Lisa also does wax rubbings of the gravestones in the cemetery, and one of these is on her wall, and the guy points to it, and she finds out that he is the guy who was buried in that grave. She takes care of him, she gives him a shower because he's really gross and yucky from being in the ground. And they get close and it's really sweet. But that's all I'm gonna say, summarizing the movie, because I really want you to go watch it. If I get this video out when I plan to, hopefully it's still in theaters, or if not, it's on streaming or you can buy it on DVD. But for the rest of the video, I'm going to talk about specific things that I really enjoyed about this movie. Catherine Newton plays Lisa, and she's really great. I knew her from being in Freaky, which came out in 2020. Great movie. If you like horror comedy, you're gonna like it. I really like Lisa as a character. She's very relatable, I think. Her room is covered in classic horror movie posters, and she's got a Bauhaus poster. I love Bauhaus, that's really cool. I will say post-punk and goth music are definitely a part of this movie, which I really enjoy. You see throughout the movie several shirts for certain bands, there's Peter Murphy, there's Joy Division. It's really cool. Lisa is definitely very much an outcast, and the creature helps her come out of her shell a little bit, and she has a bunch of super cute outfits that I really want. The costume design in this movie is great. Cole Sprouse is the other main actor in this movie, and he plays the creature, and he's really good at that. I find his performance very charming. There's a lot of really sweet scenes with him and Lisa. Other general movie things, the set design, I love. I already mentioned Lisa's room is really great, and the garage with the tanning bed has a lot of bright neon colors. That's another thing. I love neon colors and just colorful lighting in general. That was one of my favorite things about the Fear Street movies. This movie also uses that, and it looks amazing. Lots of purple and green and red and pink, and it's gorgeous. I also want to say Lisa's dream sequence towards the beginning, it's all in black and white. It's in a very specific, abstract style. I love it. I don't think it's in any of the trailers, so another reason to go watch this movie. It was really beautiful. On to special effects. I'm generally a practical effects guy, that's what I prefer, but I think this movie, the stuff looked good. There was noticeably some CGI, I'm pretty sure CGI, but what they did with it works well. There's not a whole lot of on-screen, graphic gore. This is a PG-13 movie, which a lot of people don't like PG-13 horror. There's a lot of stuff that is toned down and it just takes you out of it because it could be better if there was more. But I think this movie, it's not just horror, it's also romance and comedy. And I think it's balanced out really well to where it doesn't really bother me that you don't see a lot. And some of the sound effects make up for it. And there's still a fair bit of blood, which I'm happy about. Another great thing about this movie is the soundtrack. They're already releasing vinyls and cassettes of it, and I'm really tempted to get a tape because it's really great. And songs featured in the movie, as I said before, The Promise by When in Rome, that's in most of the trailers, so you probably know that if you've been keeping up with this movie. They also have Wave of Mutilation by the Pixies, and remember at the beginning of the video when I said I made a playlist for this movie before it was out? One of the songs I added was Lips Like Sugar by Echo and the Bunnymen, and that song ended up being in the movie. I was so happy about that. I know I haven't really covered the actual story of the movie, but I feel like you can get that from the trailers. You know, girl meets dead guy, they fall in love, some murder happens. I'm not gonna say much more than that because you really do just need to experience this movie as it is. I think the whole love story is done well, and the ending is so sweet. I almost cried a little bit. That's basically all I have to say. I just go watch it. Go watch it. It's really good. If you are unaware, the writer and producer of this movie is Diablo Cody, and she also wrote and produced Jennifer's Body. So if you like that movie, you'll probably like this one. I've seen a lot of people comparing this to that movie, and obviously, same writer and producer, that makes sense, but I think it's not that similar to Jennifer's Body, so I wouldn't go in expecting that movie again. I also see a lot of people comparing it to Tim Burton, and I can understand that. Like, there's definitely a lot of similarity visually and, like, tone-wise to movies like Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands, but I really think, instead of, like I've seen some reviews saying, oh, this is like Jennifer's Body but Tim Burton, I feel like you really just need to judge this movie on its own and not be like, what if it was these two things mashed together? Because it's truly really great, and I don't want it simplified to that because it's great. I know I just said that, but it's great, and I feel like saying things like that could give people the wrong impression about the movie, and I really think just go in, watch it, and enjoy it. It's a fun movie. It's not for everyone. It's got a very specific audience, I think. Most of the people I've talked to, like, in real life and some online, have said, like, oh, I've never heard of that movie. I haven't seen any trailers. I've been getting trailers and ads for it nonstop, but that's because it's definitely a kind of movie that I would love. One last thing, I just want to recreate one of my favorite scenes from this movie, because I feel like if you have not yet been persuaded to watch it, this could get you to watch it. You don't even know how to drive a car. I bet you rode one of those bikes with the one big wheel. Yeah. And that's that. This is my first video on this channel. I have experimented a little with YouTube in the past, but most of that was me at 10 years old trying to make Minecraft videos. So please like, comment, share this video with your friends, subscribe if you want to. I plan to make more. Horror is very important to me, very special to me, so I doubt I'll run out of things to talk about anytime soon. I watched a movie called The Toxic Slime Creature last night. I might cover that. It's great. I also do art and I do cosplay. I recently made replicas of the chainsaw from Evil Dead and also the Necronomicon. I hand painted all the pages. I'd love to share those in a video if anyone's interested. I also have a fairly sized DVD collection. I have a book collection. I'd love to go through and share those at some point. So, safe to say, I'm not just going to be doing reviews, I'm going to be talking about everything I like. And it may not all be horror related. If you've watched this far, thank you so much. I worked hard on this video, and that's all from me. Stay groovy!